Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to our July full moon spotlight. Today is Wednesday, the 13th of July. It's a full moon in Capricorn, which is going pretty much direct, more or less, as we speak. So that is very, very exciting. I'm very happy to introduce to you today. You may already have met Sally, but if you haven't, this is Sally Arthurs. And Sally is going to share with us today all about her life work of working with gold. So just bear with me, Sally, a second while I make sure that we are streaming. We are. So thank you for joining with me, Sally.
Thank you for having me.
So please say hello. So guys, as you're watching, if you are watching live, you know how this works. Please let social media know that you're watching and say hello to Sally and myself, because that will let other people see it as well. This is only going into the Manifesting with the Moon community. If you're watching live, we hope you enjoy this as well. So Sally, please introduce yourself, and maybe as part of your introduction, you could also share why gold. How did gold and you come to get to know each other so well?
Yep. For those that haven't met me, I'm Sally, and I work with gold and Starlight Alchemy. And gold has become an absolute huge passion of mine, and it was quite unexpected. It's not something that I was interested in at all, but it kept showing up in my life. And often when we work with gold, there's a lot of self-worth issues come to be healed as a start. And probably going back to my childhood, I was never allowed to have gold when I was a child. It was always silver. So that sort of almost not being allowed to have gold was seeded in. And obviously gold gets a bit of a bad press because we've got all these connotations that are linked to gold, but gold diggers and people that hoard gold, and there's all this negativity around people that have too much gold, and it was not something that I really wanted to work with in the beginning. I was actually quite resistant. Probably mid-teens, I began to have this strange relationship with silver in that every time I wore it, it turned black. So it was like, so if anybody was buying me jewellery, they had to buy me gold. So it was kind of got used to this. Bit strange, I know, but I got used to having gold. And there was always this love-hate relationship with it. It was always, you would like to have more, but then you felt guilty for wanting more. You didn't feel worthy of having more. And that kind of dance went on for quite some time. And I was becoming more intrigued by gold. It was showing up in different places. And I've got a little bottle here that came to me. It's 24 karat gold flakes. It's just in preservative so that it doesn't dry out and flake to nothing. And that came into my being, if you will. And I sort of became really quite obsessed with it, and I had no idea why. And it was like I kept putting it onto the back burner. And eventually, gold arrived in the middle of the night, as often a lot of things do with me. It tends to be how I work and how I kind of tune in more easily. I guess I'm quite resistant to things sometimes. And when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're actually lecturing yourself on what gold actually does within the body and how it works on the cellular memory and how it works with different things like that, and you actually give yourself a fright because you're like, I don't know this information. I've never come across this information before. So when gold starts talking to you on that level, you really kind of need to sit up and take a bit of notice. So that was like the first hit when it was like, this really needs to be, this thread needs to be followed.
Wow, that's quite something. I don't think I've experienced that, at least not knowingly, where I've received this. Yeah. So we have quite a lot of people watching, Sally. We have Julia and Lisa and Caroline, Monique, Helen, Wolfgang, Sarah Jane, Martha Mary. So welcome to you all. I'm excited that you're here to just kind of let's download this gold vibration, especially under this full moon. So gold came to find you. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And I resisted it, yeah,
which
for
is
so many years.
A journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 So,
yeah.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
You know, it just there was a lot of synchronistic events, probably, I would say probably in the 5 years after that experience. I didn't do anything with the information other than kind of jot it down, not really storing it properly, but looking at it now and again. But over those 5 years, it was this resistance, but it would keep coming back up, and there would be synchronistic events that would plop me in front of something that would then open up another facet, until eventually I did begin to work with gold and actually begin using the process myself.
So you have your own process of working with gold, isn't it? And, you know, just to be transparent, I have actually been working within what Sally teaches myself personally for a couple of years?
Probably the last 3 years, yeah.
Is it that long? My goodness. Yes. You testify to how it holds what Sally knows and teaches, and obviously the vibration of gold, how it holds and contains our energies at times, and this is what we're going to talk about now, I think, at times when our energy systems really, really need the support, because, I mean, Sally knows more about this than me, about the golden vibration of it, because it's her area of expertise. But right now, everything that the earth is undergoing an upgrade. The downloads are daily. There's always something happening in the skies. So tell us, Sally, how gold can help during these times.
Yeah, well, although often what I work with is quite out there, I like to bring it down into very physical, very day-to-day type things, because at the end of the day, we are here in this physical reality, and this is where we need to do our work. When we start working spiritually, we can get lost in the prettiness and the excitement and the lovely feeling of being out there, because we've got to remember that is where and who we really are. It's out there. We're here in this vehicle, if you like, at this time for a specific reason. But we can get lost going out there and being into all this lovely stuff, when really what we need to do is bring this lovely stuff here and to help it to walk step by step. And as you touched on, we're just being bombarded by so many different energies right now. I mean, we know that people evolve. It's not something new that's happened. We're completely different to what our ancestors were. We have to evolve to live in the world that we live in. And we're surrounded by all these energies. I mean, things like Wi-Fi and all the kind of things that we have in the 3D reality. We need to learn. They're not going away. We need to learn for our bodies to learn how to upgrade so that they can cope with those energies. And we also have magnetic radiation coming in. The radiation field of the earth is changing. So we've got all these energies that have a really big impact on our bodies. And we're talking about raising our vibration and things like that. So gold, I often liken it to reference it to computers. And it's a bit like if you've got an old system, you can't run a new program. So you need to upgrade the system, and the system is our bodies. And the upgrade, the software, if you like, is gold. And we all do have a tiny little bit of gold already within our systems. And this gold helps us in this way, and we can activate that gold to work with us and to help us to bring these upgrades in more effectively, more efficiently, and basically not to fry our systems.
How does it do that then? When we bring gold through, in what way does it support our systems?
In the way that it shows to me, it works almost like an immune system in a way. If you have an infection in your body, your immune system kind of rallies and it will go to that part of your body and it will help to deal with fighting whatever infection is going on there. So when we have an area of weakness in our body where it's not able to hold that energy, gold mobilizes, if you will, and goes to that area and holds the structure there until that part of the cell or to that part of your body is strong enough to hold that energy. So it's I mean, I call it an energetic scaffolding team. It's almost like it's able to hold where you need that energy to be held.
Yeah, it's one, certainly my experiences of, well, I've experienced what you're saying in your care, so to speak, in your teachings, and I can definitely testify to it. What I learned when I was learning about essences were that flower essences expand consciousness, crystals create the scaffolding to hold the consciousness, and then metals, of which gold is one of, really go to do that at a higher or possibly deeper level, which depending on which way you're looking. So it is one of the highest, well, obviously it's one of the highest vibrations because it's gold, but it's one of the most efficient ways of holding the energy.
Yeah, I mean, gold in its purest form is almost indestructible. It's a really strong metal. It's soft. When I say strong, the jewellery that we wear is not pure gold. They have to put other metals in to make it stronger because the gold would just bend. But the thing about it is that no matter what you do to it, it remains pure gold. And even if you melt it, and I think it's something like 3,000 degrees melting point, so that immense amount of heat it takes to shift it from its solid state to its liquid state. So even when you do that in its molten form, it is still pure gold. And even when it looks to our physical eyes that it's almost destructed, when it becomes pure, it becomes like a white powder, and they call it monoatomic gold. Even when it becomes that powder, every single grain of that powder is one atom of gold. So it is this absolute purity that gold knows what it is, it knows who it is, and it will not be tainted or tarnished by anything external. So there is no room for, when gold does something, it does it with absolute purity. It's that absolute purity, and this is partly why gold is it is so valued. It's why it has this value as a barter way back at the beginning of the monetary system. It's because it has this amazing healing properties and this amazing ability to assist us. I mean, the Egyptians were obsessed with it, and they even had to have it on their sarcophagi, etc., when they were looking to go to the afterlife. And it was nothing to do with the monetary value. And yet it got lost in translation, that we look at it as they did that because they wanted to look rich. No, they did it because they wanted the absolute purest form of themselves to be taken forward.
Mm-hmm. And so that kind of leads us into the area of self-worth, because here in the Manifesting with the Moon Forum, what we all have in common is that we're, whatever manifesting means to us, it can mean different things to different people. We can manifest more time, more joy, more peace, more clients, more money. You know, it's like everything's the same, really, in my view. But a lot of manifestation is the belief in the fact that we can do it. Because if we do all the things and then we don't have the self-belief or the openness and the willingness to allow it in, so the self-worth.
Yeah.
So how does gold help us there?
Well, as I say, we don't value that part of ourselves that is pure gold already. And we don't value ourselves enough to run it in our systems. And we don't utilize those properties in the way that they were meant to be used. And it kind of, it's like parallel universe with other things as well. When we're talking about, we don't value ourselves enough to have money. Take that back. Money was gold. Every pound note. If you're in the UK, every pound note was £1 of gold. Sorry. So we've kind of forgotten where all this. We've got so entrenched in these little bits of paper that are actually supposedly bits of paper that say, yeah, we actually owe you £1 of gold. But we never get round to having that gold. And we've got so far removed from it. And it's that self-worth aspect. As I say, everything's interrelated. And it's when we lose sight of that worth, when we lose sight of the preciousness that is already within us, we don't think that we're worthy of having any more. And it's a bit like you tell the universe then that if I'm not worthy to have what I've got, then why would the universe provide anything else? It's like you need to honour what you've got. You need to take care of what you've got in order to bring more in.
And it's that rub as well, isn't it? Here we are all looking for the gold outside of ourselves, when from what you're sharing, it's inside of us.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is activate it. So how do we activate the gold inside us? I mean, obviously, one of the ways is to come and join your program. Because that's, if you're serious, really want to learn how to do it, this is what Sally teaches. But for now, how would you answer?
Well, I would say probably the easiest way to access is via a gold essence. Because that's using the essences, it's a gentler way to add the energy into your system too. And it's a bit like when you take a gold essence, it's actually vibrating at the resonance of the gold within you. So you'll begin to activate that energy. And you can simply, if you've got a piece of gold jewellery, you can simply tune into that. I mean, I'm sure everybody here is pretty okay with sitting doing meditation and tapping into those properties and just asking for the gold within your system to be aligned with this vibration that is around you. As I say, either in the essence or in the physical gold. And it's a nice, gentle way to start, because I think it's a bit like if somebody goes from having no money to suddenly having an absolute fortune, they don't know what to do with it, and it can actually be quite destructive. So it's the same with activating the gold within. You've got to take it nice and gently. You've got to get used to that energy. You've got to be comfortable with it, and just taking it nice and slowly and just really inviting it in.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Monique's saying valuing the gold that's inside me already. Wow, that's amazing. So that is something I hear as well. When you said that, I was just like, okay, yeah. So what you're saying, and I can vouch for this, having worked with the energies that you bring through, Sally, that taking a gold journey is amazing. But it needs to be, it's a commitment as well, isn't it? It's a commitment to yourself and to your energy system. So why would we resist activating the gold within? Isn't that interesting? Why is it kind of difficult when actually it should just be, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I think partly that possibly just what's quickly drifting through my head there is a lot of it is fear of change. Because if we activate something that is going to make us more than what we are, that can be quite a scary place to be sometimes. Because it also brings with it new responsibilities and new ways of being.
Yeah. It's back to the old change thing, isn't it? The people around us might not like the new us,
Yeah.
etc., etc. We need to behave differently if we activate our self-worth.
Yeah, and it's a bit like that as well. People sometimes are ashamed when, and it sounds crazy, but they can be ashamed if they have too much money. So if they have too much gold, they don't really want to talk about it, to share that, or to even to spend it because they feel as though they might be offending other people who don't have that. And it's how we deal with our own self-worth, isn't it? It's a bit like we keep ourselves small. We don't always use our full potential for fear of appearing too much to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. My goodness. Yeah, so Helen says, I think it was Helen, yeah. This is so interesting. I can now see why I've passed over gold for silver. I've not been able to see the gold in me.
Yeah. And it's so many people don't realise that they have this. I mean, they've used gold in medicines. I mean, they used to give gold injections for arthritic conditions. And I'm kind of having stuff coming in there, you know, it's like when joints are frozen, then it's kind of freeing, loosening up, bringing the movement back, removing the inflammation. And it's kind of like what, you know, that the gold is already in our systems, that tiny little bit. And when we're able to activate that, we can do that for ourselves. And we now know that everything has a vibration, and using that vibration, we don't necessarily need to use a physical piece of gold. Just tapping into that vibration and actually getting your body to really to know it, to love that vibration, and because it's loving a part of you that you. I mean, if you shun gold right now, if you say, "Oh, I couldn't possibly have gold, I couldn't possibly have money that is valued to gold," then you're actually cutting off a part of yourself. You're saying that I don't like that part of me that is.
The connection within is just not, it's just disconnection again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lisa's saying, I've always had an issue with gold to the extent that when I was given my engagement ring, I tried but wasn't comfortable wearing it, and eventually my fiance bought me a silver one. Isn't it interesting? And Julia says, I've done the same thing. Isn't it interesting? So yeah, and it's one of the first parts of the journeys that Sally runs is the first task, isn't it, on the kind of first day, and we do it every single time.
Yeah.
You feel about gold today, so we could just sit for all of us here now. Today, how do I feel about gold? Tomorrow, I may feel differently.
Yeah, and it's when you look at it, and I do it myself every time that I journey with gold, and I journey with gold quite regularly. I don't necessarily use the energy all the time because sometimes your system needs to do other things.
Yeah.
But I do the journey regularly, and it's when you tune into it, it's like knowing exactly where you are in that moment with it, because things change. I mean, sometimes I tune in and it's like, oh, I really have resistance to this right now. And it's looking at if you have resistance or if you don't. It doesn't mean to say that you need to love gold. Doesn't need to mean that you know, it's as long as you don't have a love-hate relationship with it. It's just coming to know what your relationship with it is.
Isn't it? That's the gold is in the awareness always. Yay. Well, very interesting, Sally. So I know it's one of your loves. I mean, Sally's speciality is helping us take care of our modern day let's start again. One of Sally's specialities is helping us take care of our energy systems in very modern day ways, just practical stuff. I think it's so important to bring the practical into it, as you said, rather than going outside to the bright shiny objects, of which gold is definitely one. Let's bring gold inside ourselves and look at the brightness inside. Yeah, so Julia's saying, I feel I want to start wearing gold again. I used to wear it when I was younger, but changed to silver after my first marriage ended. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, it can be interesting to look at when and how a relationship changes.
Yeah.
Gold as well.
Michelle says, me too. I've always avoided gold, borderline hated it and preferred silver. I would love to feel differently and recognize and energize the gold inside myself and in my life. Wow. Well, thank you everybody for sharing so beautifully, because it's super helpful to Sally to hear all this, and it's just super helpful to have these discussions, isn't it, for all of us to be having no shame about it. Basically, it's just like this is me. Yeah. And someone also said, Helen says, always resisted it. So as Sally said, one of the easiest ways, accessible ways to do this is to take a gold essence. And I know you have some, Sally. So maybe tell us now how people can go and find those. And maybe you'd like to post it up in this thread afterwards. Do you like to post them and a link to the gold and your essences?
Yep, sure. There's a few different ones within the range, but yeah, I'll definitely put the link to the website page there.
Talk a little bit about the different ones.
There's integral gold, which I would probably say is the easiest one to start with, because it is more, it helps to activate gold in that very initial way where we're beginning to learn to run it through our systems. The iridescent gold is probably more etheric. It's more our energy system as opposed to our physical body. And I don't like the name is how's that crazy? How can I not remember the name of the third one? It's Golden Seal. Yeah. And that is really helpful for when we feel that need for an extra bit of protection, when we're looking to help those weakened areas, when we're looking to build up that external strength, if you like, to cope with whatever we're coping with in energy-wise in a minute.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's really helpful to hear the differences. Caroline says, I love yellow gold. Is that the celebrity in me? I've done Sally's journey with gold before and it was amazing. I highly recommend it as a beautiful, enlightening experience.
Oh, thank you, Caroline.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, Caroline, because I was kind of hiding my light there. I love gold. And I was kind of thinking, well, I better not say that because nobody else is saying. But yeah, let's just come out. I have always loved gold. And although I love silver too, I'm a moon girl. Gold is my choice with jewelry. So Monique says, I had my gold wedding ring changed into a Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. Only found out later it's all about maturation and individuation. Wow. Well, that's interesting, Monique, isn't it? Okay, so Sally's going to post up where you can find her gold essences. Is there anywhere else that people can come and hang out with you?
There's the Facebook group as well. Self-care for your energy system, Weaving Golden Starlight. I'll pop the link in if anybody wants to come along and join us there if they haven't done so.
Please do, yeah. Such a beautiful exploration, Sally. Thank you so much for being here on this amazing full moon. If you have any questions for Sally, please ask them and she will come and answer them here. If you're watching the replay, please do share as well and ask. I'm sure Sally and I too would love to know, if you want to pop into the comments, what your biggest takeaway is from listening. What's your big aha and insight moment? I think mine is that I can activate it. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I've just had a strange thought myself, and it's often as women we tend to move towards silver, again because it's the lunar energies and it's more feminine and it's what we think we should be doing. We think we're being more masculine and more materialistic if we head towards the gold, but that's not the case, not in the slightest. And it's like embracing them both.
Yeah, well, it is, isn't it? The inner feminine, the inner masculine, and the dance between, and that's really what we're talking about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think in a world where most of us here anyway are kind of moving away from the old patriarchal, whatever we want to call it, earth, we're also shunning the gold, because it's like, let's chuck all of that out, but we have to be discerning, don't we?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, well, thank you. I seem to have got rid of Monique said, oh no, I've seen that. I can't see all of these. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Oh, here we go. Helen says, thank you, Sally. Very interesting and illuminating. I'm going to go and meditate on my connection to God as I do wear it. It will be good to allow that conscious connection. That's Martha. And Julia says, I've just put on my late mother's gold ring, which I kept in a box for many years. Wow, that feels significant, Julia.
It's lovely. Yeah. And do let me know what your thoughts are now. You're in the comments when you have tuned in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much. So the full moon actually is in a minute's time. So maybe we could just stay here for one more minute. My computer is telling me it's at 20:37, and in France it's 20:36 right now.
Yep, and so we're almost there.
Yeah, so wishing everybody very full moon blessings. Here we go. It's full moon, guys. So thank you, Sally. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everybody for joining live or via the replay. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.